Hi, my name is Desmond Agbadi. I'm a social commentator, and my mission is simple to help you exercise the power of your mind for personal and professional growth. Welcome to my podcast. Let's get it. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome back to the Desmond Agbadi podcast. If you're new here, as a new viewer, we welcome you. If you are coming with us from the last video, we welcome you as well. Today, let's get into it. I want to speak about a topic that's very dear to my heart. If you're close to me, you understand how important this discourse is, and it's about Black excellence. What does it mean when you hear that word, Black excellence? What does it mean to you? And so, as someone who, all my life, I've been taught that growth is in phases, all right, and it has to be organic. So it means that you're supposed to move from different levels, from 1, 2, 3 to 10, or whatever crescendo you're looking to get to. And then you measure these successes, okay, in such a way that you are able to look at different phases or look at the previous phase and say, what is it we did right? What is it we did wrong that we can improve on? What are the tangibles that we can take along? What are the intangibles that are also important that we can take along? What was our customer base like? What are we looking to get to? What point do we want to drive to? How do we drive growth? Are promotions necessary? What kind of promotions do we need? How do we identify the instruments for promotions? Do we want to, go to, in quote, celebrities? Do we want to go to traditional media houses? Do we want to go to influencers? Do we want to go to, directly use the social media, employ promotional managers, all these kinds of things, the social media managers and all that? I am very passionate about Black businesses. And look, this is not racial. Please get my point. I love successful businesses. All right. In particular, I would love to see Africa in general as a whole compete with businesses around the world generally. And so I like it to get to a point where certain Black business brands are able to hold their own, all right, in the community of business, such that they don't look intimidated, they don't look held back, they do not look they do not chicken out of challenges. And that is what we're going to address. All right. The idea of running a business is such that besides growing phase by phase, you hope to be success in the long term is measured as the amount of people you're able to convert into buyers. So you have traditionally onlookers, people who, maybe just by what the algorithms and AI or search engine optimization, what it does, puts you out there, make sure that if you use certain keywords, when people impute those keywords on search engines, they're able to, find you almost immediately amongst the top 3, top 5, top 10 searches that pop out. However, success in the long term, to me, it means that converting your onlookers or first timers into potential buyers. And what that means is price point is important. Please get this and get this right. And I'm going to make some references. And please, to the brands, this is not in any way to bring you down. It's not in my character, all right? I'm a very, very conscientious and sincere human being. To the fans of these brands, please, I ask that you comment if you choose to the right way. Comment properly. This is not to attack anybody. I'm not in the social media for that kind of ugliness. Some Nigerian brands, you have ZTTW, that of course belongs to Zlatan Ibile. You have the RIP, that belongs to Peter Okoye of P Square. And some other brands. So what I've been able to do, for some reason, I've been able to go to these websites of these brands, and I'm looking at their price points, and I'm saying, okay, I get it, all right, that you are appealing to a certain kind of customer base. However, I walk into a Primark store anywhere in the UK or maybe the US or wherever it is I have stores. I walk into an M&S. I walk into a TK Maxx. TK Maxx is usually a subsidized shopping area. And it's possible that I get the same quality or even better of what you're offering. For what? It depends on what people call affordable. £17, £14, or it's UK, so I can speak in pounds. The highest, maybe you can go as high as what? I mean, I'm talking about a t-shirt. You can go as high as £90. And I'm looking at ZTTW. I'm looking at RIP. What else? Yeah, and I'm seeing 230 something. That they're quoting dollars, of course, but in pounds it's lesser. So let's say what, give or take £200. I'm looking at £250 for a t-shirt. I'm like, I mean, even a jersey. I do not understand that. I do not understand how you intend to grow that way. These guys are entertainers, so they believe in doing it big. Again, this is why some of us would advise you get business managers, you get business advisors, okay, who are able to sincerely advise you on how to go about these things and growing organically. Don't just, yes, you're P Square, you're Zlatan, but, and so, it's not you. You should be able to remove yourself or recuse yourself from the profitability of that brand or the viability of that brand. And this is what I mean. As P Square or as Peter Okoye, very popular in Nigeria. Some might even say, indeed, some parts of the world, you're quite popular. It's the same with Zlatan. But can you remove yourself from that, from the business? Name it, whatever it is you want to name it, you can put your name. But I'm talking about removing yourself in such a way that you do not, see yourself as though affecting the pricing or the price points of your commodities. That's just bad business. To me, if you ask me. So what you want to do, I'm not giving advice. I'm not a business advisor. I'm just saying my mind as an individual. But what you might want to do, you might want to remove yourself from the business. Okay, so grow. Widen your customer base. I'm not saying sell at a ridiculous price point. That's not what I mean. Okay? Try and reach a larger audience. Do not limit yourself in the sense that, people know that, this is P Square, so if it comes, this is Latin, so it's definitely going to cost high. No. Luxury is not yeah, the Nigerian way of determining luxury is chaotic. It's backwards if you ask me, but that's just a discussion for another day. Yeah, so define luxury in the sense that luxury equates to profit. If that is, I think everyone sets up business to make profit. I don't know who set up business to not make profit. So define luxury that equates to profit making, and then you're able to reach a wider audience. Maybe start from somewhere in the middle class. Now, there are different spheres in the middle class. There are those low middle class, middle class, high middle class, close to the elite, that kind of thing. But reach the ones at the low, all right, who are able to part away. If you have a customer base and you have some of them or most of them who are able to part away with, say, £20 or at most £25 for a t-shirt, you can imagine where you would reach. All right. And then you're able to cover more grounds, go to more locations, Before you know it, you're having physical stores in the UK, physical stores in Nigeria. I'm not talking about online stores. Get my point. Online stores are fine, all right. There's a certain presence that comes with having physical stores, and it's very, very beneficial and advantageous. So you can have physical stores in the UK, in the US, in Canada. I mean, these are usually the prime locations. In Italy, in France, you're having your stores in Paris, and you have tourists, and maybe highly touristy locations, and tourists come there every year, and they're able to, shop from you and get merchandise. I'm talking about real merch. You don't have to reduce quality. Never compromise on that. And I appreciate Zlatan and Peter for that. They've been very true to standard in terms of quality. All right. Can we look at the price points, and then growing your audience, and then maximizing that audience, and in turn getting bigger in terms of, to, like I said, physical locations and online presence. And I mean this. I am really of the opinion the Black businesses get it right. And so it also comes to a point where we talk about customer service. I'll use myself as an example now. If you encounter, I play in hospitality. I've been there for close to 5 years now or more. I have successfully led a business for 3 years. At the first time, in my first year, we lost the owner of the business. I wasn't up to 1 year in the business, but at some point, I was able, all right, to quickly adapt to the business. I learned a lot from her, okay? So that helped me and shaped me into managing that business for the rest of the 3 years that I stayed there. So, using myself, if you encounter me in my current place of work, say I provide a service to my guests, to my clients, to my customers. Customer service is, for me, is such that it gets to a point where it becomes natural. All right. People say most times people fake niceness or nicety, or trying to, provide help and tolerate annoying customers. That's fine. But one good thing about habits is, if you pick up the right habits, in the long term, they become a part of you, so much so that it becomes like natural behavior. It just happens. Okay, you might not even know it, or it becomes subconscious and it's implanted, and so you are able to. It becomes a huge advantage for you, and so you're able to deal with people of any kind of background, crazy customers, lovely customers, the really, really sketchy customers. Yeah, if you want to say that. And so when you interface or engage with customers, you're not the type who goes around and say, please give me a nice review, just like what some of the Uber guys would do. No. It will show in that your service is your action. All right? How you provide this service and how naturally you come about it is your rating. That's your action. And that is what customers or clients or guests, whatever, would rate. And you want to do it such that you don't, again, it has to be a natural thing. It has to get to that point. So when you fake it, people don't say, oh, look, this guy, just say what you want to say, let me go. I mean, it's obvious that, you're not, this is not a natural behavior. You get the point I'm coming from. So customer service for me is like that. For Nigerian businesses, if you're an Uber man in Nigeria, it is possible, okay, to grow from working for Uber to owning your own car hailing service or car hauling company. It depends. Listen to me. I say that again. If you're an Uber, classism, I'll speak about classism much later on, but let me just reference it there. Classism in Nigeria now has destroyed so many things. It has destroyed honest work. It has destroyed honest efforts. It has destroyed the very, very principle of hard work pays. And that principle still works, but for a lot of Nigerians, you're not understanding it. You cannot be a big boy if you want to get rich. Being a big boy, if you own a hospitality business, being a big boy in the sense of owning that business is that you're able to provide timely service to your guests when due. The timing of the timeline of solving problems, all right, is such that it is like the speed of light. And people know you as a brand that, look, if we go to this place, even when we have challenges, the way they fix up is seamless. That is being a big boy. It's not that you're a Yahoo boy, you extort people of their hard-earned money, and those are the kinds of people, or politicians who have stolen the country high and dry. Those are the kinds of people that Nigerians want to refer to as big boys. No. We're talking about legitimate business people. And so being an Uber person, you can also be a big boy. But your idea of service has to be perfect. Maybe not perfect, because nothing is entirely perfect, but your idea of service, okay, has to really, really cut it. You cannot pretend to be who you're not. Again, I go back to habits. If you pretend to have a certain trait long enough, it grows to become part of you, and then it is integrated, it is ingrained into your subconscious. So it's always best, even if you want to pretend the right way, so that in the long term, you're able to behave just the way you pretended, a while ago. And the same thing if you are, this is going to sound a bit unusual as an example, but as a dispatch rider, dispatch riders in Nigeria are very, very peculiar people, but you can also be a big boy as a dispatch rider. Again, it starts with a vision, just like anything else. Where do you want to get to? Fine, you don't like it being a dispatch rider for someone, you don't like being spoken to by entirely rude customers. Most of the customers in Nigeria are actually very rude. You want to own your own business or your own bike, your own dispatch service, your own logistics service. You want to move on quickly. Again, moving quickly, doesn't happen like magic, all right? Fine, you can sit down and articulate a timeline and say, okay, this is when I like to break even, or this is when I like to break off and go to my own point. That's all right. But then what determines that is a vision. And what determines that is the amount of work you've been able to put in to gain experience, to get knowledge, to gain exposure, all right? To have a right sense of that business environment before you veer into it. And so you don't just come off as, oh, I want to just blow. In Nigeria, I want blow. It doesn't happen. It's not magic. So as a dispatch rider, you can still make a living off of that and eventually move on to your own business. So you can, and if you work for someone, please do it like it is your business. That's what I do. If you work for someone and you intend to one day or someday get your own business, you do that work or you do that job as though that's your primary business. You don't do it, just lazying about. You don't do it with a nonchalance and say, oh, after all, it's not my business. No, it has to be your business because habit, right? Need I say it again? That's just what it is. So you can move on as a dispatch guy from working for someone to owning your own business. Treat that business like your own. Whatever it is your hand find it doing, do it right. That maxim is true for life itself, because if you do not do it as though it's your own business, you will get to your own business, and the same attitude you put in for someone else's business, that's the same attitude you put in for your own business. Pay and employee benefits, or labor is cheap in Nigeria. I think most people know this. So you find someone working a 9 to 5 earning 70,000 naira, and then you equate that to the dollar equivalent. It's rubbish. Absolute rubbish. There's no kind of leeway whatsoever. There's no kind of, you don't derive joy, all right, earning that kind of money. Again, if you have a vision, you can move from 70,000 on a job to say 170,000 on another job, all right, or in the same sector but for another company, and then maybe move to 250. Then maybe at some point you decide that, you know what, look, I think I have enough knowledge. If I want to go into this business, I think this is the time that I want to break off and then go my own way. You can do that. But growth has to be organic. You have to move from 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, point A to point B to point C to point D, and so on and so forth. You cannot, they're not they blow. He said you won't blow. It cannot blow like that. It doesn't work. It doesn't work that way. And of course, reading books help from reading books can help from successful businessmen, from successful moguls, you know. But then again, I find that what you want to do mostly is experience it yourself and expose yourself to the right kind of information and environment, such that you don't have to be scampering around or running after anyone or any sound bites that you hear. So Black excellence has to grow organically. All right. I take that again. Black excellence is just like the traditional way of growing any business. Grow organically, expand your customer base or convert your own lookers to buyers, and then try and expand. Your price point is very, very important. All right? So you need to watch that. And that is what we need to do as a community. If we want to compete, it is competition for a reason. You cannot, and in a competition, no one is doing you any favors. Just like people like to say, no one is coming to rescue you. That's true. You have to rescue yourself. And what I mean by that is no one is going to do you any favors and say, oh, this is, this person is from this community, let's give them special treatment. No, stop it. Stop asking for special treatment as a Black person. Stop. Just stop. That has to stop. You do not need special treatment. What you need, you do not even need a fairground. You may not like that sound, but that's just the way the world works. Because whatever it is you think you want to do, someone else is doing it at a much, much larger space, at a much, much larger pace. So to come on board, and say, oh, I deserve special treatment. No, who are you? Why should anyone treat you specially? Unless, of course, you are a customer with a deep pocket and, you're going to a store and you're willing to spend hundreds of hundreds of thousands of dollars. Yeah, you get special treatment, but as a business, no one deserves to treat. No, you do not deserve to be treated specially. The only way you get treated specially is when you apply these principles to your business, that you understand how to grow and you understand how to move with the market. And this is what we're saying for Black businesses. I like Vusi Tembekwaye a lot. I listen to him. Most times we agree on certain things. Yeah. And he is a very powerful orator. That has to be said. And he knows his stuff. Okay, so if you're listening to someone like that, you need to pay keen attention. I'm not saying, again, your mind, you have your mind. So whatever it is you hear, you don't have to take everything hook, line, and sinker. But when you hear certain things, all right, that make sense and are reasonable, you just absorb them. And then you try to apply some of those things together with what you know to be true. And that's when learning is complete. Learning is not just absorbing whatever it is you hear from someone. Learning is that you absorb what you think you need, and then you pair that with your own principles and see where it takes you. That's complete learning. I like him. I think he speaks a lot of sense, and I like what he's doing for Africa. He's one of my favorite speakers. Yeah. So that's someone you might want to listen to as well. And you might get a sense of where I'm coming from if you do not get it by now. And at the end of the day, ZTTW, RIP, and some other businesses, I wish you well. And I hope that you get to the point where, of course, we can say that, okay, this is a Nigerian business, this is a Black business competing at the global stage. And I wish you success. Thank you.